Hey, what's up, YouTube? Today I was doing a video, or actually I was servicing my Fierce 8000, my Penn Fierce 8000, and I should have done a video on how to take it apart in the very beginning. But I'm here right now. This is what I've done. I've taken the Penn Fierce 8000 apart, and then you're gonna watch me pretty much put it back together. But I'm servicing this reel, and as you can see, I took out all the parts from the main gear section. You can see that these are some of the parts that came out of there, right? The different gears and whatnot. And before I recorded this area right here was filled with old grease. The grease is originally blue in color, but it started to turn dark blue and gray, and it had a really weird smell to it. So I think it was time to service this reel. And so I used a bunch of Q-tips, some paper towels, and took a huge gunk, a lot of grease out of there. And so the first thing you do is take out all the gear parts down there, as you can see, and take out all the grease pretty much. I'm 95% of the way there, but take out all that old grease. It's important that you take it out. You don't want new grease mixing with any of the old grease. Might cause a reaction or something. But most importantly, you want all new grease in there. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna clean up the 5% left and start putting back the gears and start greasing it all up, and then seeing how it runs. All right, now that I've taken out most of the grease, or all of the grease, I then applied more grease, actually new grease. I'm using this right here, which came off one of the reels that I bought in the past. But pretty much you can see I spray or put so much grease in there that it covers the entire section in there, right? And now as I put each part back, I'm gonna grease each part so that this entire section is well greased and that it moves properly. The reason being is that this area right here is the area that moves the most, and so you want it to move smoothly. You want it to do what it's supposed to do when you're fighting a fish, or you have your drag on when when you're reeling it in. So a lot of grease is essential to make that happen. So one of the first parts I put in is this part right there. That one right there, you can see it's one part of the gears. And before I put it in, I made sure to grease the back, spread it all apart in the front, and in those edges there that help grab the gear. So again, important to fully grease every part before putting it in. All right, here are the next parts that I put in. All right, so it's important for you to know that this is what holds this big gear in place. So when you pull this up, right, to such a point, you'll be able to remove this gear so that you'll be able to service it or clean it or whatever. Unfortunately, right now I just gotta put it a little higher, and then yeah, you'll definitely be able to pull this out right there. And so before I put this on, I put back this piece right there. This is the piece that helps the line spool up and down. It guides the line up and down. And then so I'll put that in there first, align it perfectly, and then put this back in, and it's supposed to align with this area right there. It's supposed to be biting on there. You want to keep that thing remaining up so that you'll be able to slide this in there. If you don't, you won't be able to slide this fully inside. So remember to keep that thing up first. So we're gonna put that in, right? And then we're gonna slide. Then we're gonna slide this down, which goes all the way down there, and it's supposed to align with those two screw holes right there, which is supposed to help guide the rod up and down. So you can see right there, see? You push it down, it goes all the way down. It's supposed to align here with your 2 screw holes. And it also locks this in place so you're not able to pull it out anymore. All right, and so again, remember to grease everything when you're putting each part back. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place the 2 screws in there so that it holds that in place and spread around the grease more evenly on that big gear right there. All right, guys, next, so you can see I put those 2 screws right there on the bottom left, which holds that piece that controls the reel from spooling the line up and down. So I wish I could show you here how that works, but it goes up and down as the reel spins when you're spooling your line up, so that it sets your line, or it spools your line up evenly throughout your reel. And the next thing you're gonna put in is that bearing that goes right there on that big gear. Again, make sure to grease it up and place the bearings. Very important to put every single piece where you found it. So this bearing is next. I put some grease in there. I'm going to put a little bit more grease. And then after that, I'm going to start putting this this reel back together, and see how smooth it runs after that. All right, I was able to put the bearing back right there with all the grease surrounded. And then now I'm going to be closing this bad boy up and redoing the hand part of the reel, and then pretty much greasing everything back up here. There's no parts that I took out essentially, but I just want to make sure that all these parts right there, because these things move, are greased up nicely as well before putting everything back together. All right, now as you can see, we're at this point where I have to put the cover back in. But before that, I put some more grease. Make sure to load the inside with grease. We have a crying baby there. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna put back all the screws on. 1, 2, 3. There are 2 more down here. Then I'm gonna put back the hand crank for it. And then again, grease everything and put it back together. All right, so I was able to put the hand crank back in, right? Make sure you put it on correctly, and applied more grease on this section of the reel as well, because again, although it doesn't have as much moving parts as that section I was showing you earlier, the gear area, it still moves. So you need to grease it. And also a little bit on the inside over there. Kind of looks like a reservoir of some sort, but no, it's kind of like just the inside of the housing. Want to put a little grease on there as well.